This thing's an absolute weapon.
He's the only one who's actually beaten anything.
It's just ludicrous. You'd lump on this thing.
He's finally given up on him.
A lot of people are calling it sort of the Willie Mullins Wednesday.
But I can't believe what I'm hearing.
No,
There's no way.
yeah. Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our day 2 preview of the Cheltenham Festival. Yesterday we had Oisin Murphy on, the champion jockey, and today we have a really special guest, not quite an Irish champion, but he might call himself one, Andrew Halligan. I bet you're looking forward to the festival. How are things?
That was harsh.
You just don't compare to Oisin. You just don't compare, I'm sorry.
I'm good, lads. Thanks for having me on. How's everything in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, delightful.
We're
loving life.
Doing well. Looking forward to the festival. That's just it. We're only a few weeks away now. And I think day 2 is going to be an absolute corker. And a lot of people are calling it sort of the Willie Mullins Wednesday. It could definitely be a short price favourites day, definitely. And we'll kick things off with the Ballymore Novice Hurdle. Now, the prices that I'm going to be putting up here are dated from the 22nd of February. So those who are down in the comments slagging off the prices, saying that we've got it all wrong. These are the best prices as of the 22nd of February. So Gaillard de Menil is 10-3, Bob Olinger 9-2, Brave Man's Gain 9-2, and then you've got Appreciate It, who's not going to run here, 8-1, Metier 16-1, won't run here, Drill Deal and Bear Grylls 20-1, and bigger the rest. Now, lads, in my opinion, it revolves around the top 3 in the market. You've got Harry Cobden saying that his best ride of the festival is going to be Brave Man's Game. You've got Rachel Blackmore saying that she's not scared of Brave Man's Game. And then you've got Jack Dorlin, who says Gaillard de Menil is an absolute good thing. Jack, before myself and Andrew Halligan, we go on about Bob Olinger, because I know that we're both big fans. Give your case for Gaillard de Menil. Go for it.
Now, out of the top of the 3 at the head of the market, he's the only one who's actually beaten anything. Like, I know Soaring Glory won the Betfair Hurdle and that's boosted Brave Man Game form or whatever, but I don't think that's too much of a boost, if I'm being honest. And I don't think Bob Olinger's winning the Lauders of Nace was actually that good. I mean, it was visually okay, don't get me wrong, but I don't actually think he's quickened at all. He's just beaten a couple of 2-milers. Like, Blue Lord just doesn't stay 2.5 miles, so he's a 2-miler. Gabby Nacco, that's the same. And I don't actually think he's really beaten anything. Gaillard de Menil on his maiden win beat Mr. Incredible by 9 lengths, who's since gone on to win a maiden quite comfortably. And of course, he took care of 2 at the top of the Albert Bartlett market quite easily. And they've both shortened. So their run was good, and it was in behind Gaillard de Menil. Now, of course, Gaillard de Menil had quite an easy time of it on the inside rail, but he had to weave his way past Holy Macapony and made light work of Statler. And I just think, whether it was the Dublin Racing Festival or on his maiden, he's just quickened away so nicely and showed a really nice attitude. And I think even at 10-3, I still think he's a great bet.
Yeah, and Andrew, I mean, Jack's saying there about Bollinger not being that impressive. This horse finished a length behind Fernie Hollow, who we were all hoping to see at the festival. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case this year. But in my opinion, Bob Bollinger looks like a real staying type. It's going to be a very exciting chaser. I'm sure potentially what's known as the Brown Advisory Novice Chase might be on the agenda next year for that horse. Go on, tell us how good Bob Olinger is and how far this horse wins the Ballymore by.
This thing's an absolute weapon. I'll get on to Gaillard de Menil in a few minutes, but Bob is, like, I've loved him ever since he won his bumper. He just won it in the style of a horse that just has class to burn. His run, as you said, at Gorham Park behind Fernie Hollow, who in my opinion, if he was still sound, would win the Supreme Novice Hurdle. And he went the pace with him, and he stays. He has everything. They love him out there. They think this could be the best horse they've had since I was in Europe.
Wow.
He works that well out there. He's still green as grass. There's so much more to come. I know you can crab his Lawlers and Ace Hotel form with Blue Lord in second. He's a green horse as well. There's a lot of improvement to come from Blue Lord as well. He is going to play a hand in Supreme, I'm sure of that. But that's, believe what you see, the Bob Olinger hype is real. It's every vibe coming out of Henry's is this could be their best chance of the winner. I like him a bit much. I'm on him at ridiculous prices for the Ballymore and any race, but it's just the way he goes about it. He has this big aura of being an absolute brute that will just batter anything that comes near him. He'll just gallop everything into submission. I don't know what it is. I'm not scared of the Mullins horse whatsoever. I'm convinced this thing needs a trip. I don't think this thing has gears at all. I think he just plodded past tired horses around Leopardstown. I know the form is looking all right, but it's looking all right because they're kind of staying types that are going to the Ballymore. He beat very slow horses. And he didn't really pick up. I don't know if I'm seeing it wrong or what way I'm looking at it, but I just don't think he has that gears. I think he's going to be tap for toe. He'll be placed at least. I think the biggest danger is Brave Man's Game. What he done in the Challow was impressive. And the horse that got pulled up in this was Wild About Oscar. He won the other day, beating the Glance of Queen, who was placed behind Brave Man's Game in that. I think the way it's going to be run is Brave Man's Game is obviously going to go out in front. He's going to try blitz him. I think Bob and the other two will track him. I just think the gear, I think Bob has an extra gear than Galliard and Manil. I just think he'll do him up the hill. I think that'll be the first two. It'll be Bob, Galliard, and Brave Man's Game. He'll be wilting at the end. And the one thing that is against Brave Man's Game is that Paul Nichols said he's the next Denman. God bless him.
Yeah, you mentioned there, he says he's the next Denman. A lot of people getting hyped up on that, saying, "Oh, he's got to be really good." And yeah, he is going to be a very good horse, and he still is a very good horse. But people have got to remember that back in 2006, Denman didn't actually win what is known as the Ballymore now. I think it was like the Royal Sun Alliance novice hurdle then. But Denman finished second in that. So don't think that Denman was a superstar hurdler. He was a super chaser. But, you know, he never actually won this race when he was a novice hurdler. So I wouldn't play that into your hand saying that's the reason he's going to go and win this. He may just be a really good horse and he could beat these. But in my opinion, Bob Ollinger, I think he's a really, really classy type. And like Andrew said there, you know, he went with Fernie Hollow over that speed. And I do think Fernie Hollow's a top class horse. I'm looking forward to seeing him next season. But yeah, for me, Bob Ollinger, he's going to stay all day. I think that Rachel Blackmore's it's probably going to be her winner of the festival. I'm not too convinced with Honeysuckle, but that was on yesterday's video. But yeah, in my opinion, I think that it's going to be Bob Ollinger for myself. Jack, you're going with Gaillard de Menil. And Andrew, you are also with Bob Ollinger. So
put another question against Galliard. They're running Appreciated in the Supreme. If you think Galliard had gears, he surely has more gears than Appreciated, because he's an out-and-out stayer. This is just a bad 2 mile division that he just seems to be a lot better than him. And that looks an easier race. And if I put Appreciated in this, then I'd be worried. That's the way I'm looking at it as well, if I put an angle like that.
Yeah, I see. Appreciate it. I kind of think's in limbo. Like, of course, he's going to the Supreme because he's the best 2 miler, but it's not a very good 2 mile division. Like, the Supreme looks awful, especially from the British contingent. But I don't think he properly would give it up to Brave Man's Game, Gaillard de Menil, or Bob Ollinger. I just don't think he has the gears to actually stay 2.5 better than those three. And like when you said that Gaillard de Menil didn't really quicken, I know what you mean. When he did take a little bit of a while to get past Statler, but in that maiden, Paul Townend was looking past and he was like 15 lengths clear. And of course, the maiden's very, very different to what it's like going up Cheltenham Hill. But I don't know. I just love the way that he picked up in that maiden and showed a bit of a glimpse of that next time out.
And Andrew, you said that potentially Bob Ollinger, this is from the yard, potentially their best chance of a winner at the festival. So are you saying that this horse has more of a chance potentially than Honeysuckle win the champion?
Possibly.
Oh, it's a nice price. Possibly. He's not giving us too much away there, but yeah, 9-2 a nice price rather than the sort of 5-2 that you can get about Honeysuckle. 9-2 could be a really, really tasty price. A confident selection from myself and Andrew. And Jack, you're sticking with the favourite on the first day of day 3.
That's harsh saying the favourite, mate. I've tipped him up at 10s and also had him at 16s. Harsh.
Right, we move on to the banker of the festival. No, sorry, the Brown Advisory Novice Chase over 3 miles. This is a certainty. This is Monkfish, best priced at the moment of filming this video, 5-6, which is just ludicrous. You'd lump on this thing. Violin's not going here. That's 7-1. Royal Per Guide not going here. 8-1. And then we've got Eclair de Rire 14-1. You've also got Latest Exhibition at 14s in some places, knowing that he might not go here. There's been discussions that he might skip the festival and go straight to Fairy House. The big breakaway 14s and bigger the rest. Now, Andrew, this horse here, Monkfish, is an absolute unit. Now, what I'm saying is Latest Exhibition is not a bad horse. He's a very, very classy horse. And Jack brought up this analogy the other day to me and said that Monkfish is like Stradivarius and Latest Exhibition's like Nyaf Road. Now, I wouldn't compare them like that in some ways, but I would say that this horse here, he is going to be unplayable. If Latest Exhibition doesn't go here, then you look at the betting and think that Eclair de Rire is going to be the biggest danger to this horse, and that horse is not going to come anywhere close to beating this. Andrew, take it away. This horse is an absolute unit.
As he wins, and he wins with his head in his chest, Paul down and looking between his legs, jumping the last, and off he goes up the running. This thing is a Gold Cup winner waiting to happen. He's that good. Like, as you said, Latest Exhibition, if he wasn't around, if Monkfish wasn't around, Latest Exhibition would be a two-time Grade 1 winner over fences. He'd be an Albert Bartlett winner. Monkfish has improved so much for a fence this season, it's frightening. Like, I've been shouting from the rooftop about him ever since the Albert Bartlett. I was against him in the Albert Bartlett. I didn't think he'd win. I thought he was so backwards it wasn't even funny. But what he's done this season, he's won his beginner's chase over 2.5 miles. He's then went on and beat Monkfish by 3, or Latest Exhibition by 3 lengths at Leopardstown. He's gone on again and beaten by 11 lengths the next time. This thing is an absolute point and shoot. You can do what you want to him. You can stick him out the back, he'll jump his way into it. You can stick him up front and he'll win by half the track. He's faultless. For a horse that's so big, sometimes they have problems sorting their feet out. He can go long. He can go in short. Paul can ask him for one. Paul can leave him alone. He's faultless. He's the biggest banker of the week. Yeah. I'm on him at 12s.
Oh, well done.
And if people want to say, oh, you're not, I will prove it. I will show you the best. Honestly, it's June and July. He's everything you want in a horse. I've also backed him to win this and win the Gold Cup. I think this horse is an absolute. He's the banker. He's a bigger banker than Empire Allen. I think the reason I say that is because Monkfish has beaten the best that's around. Latest Exhibition, if he comes here, he comes second. He's wise and everything else. But I'm hoping he skips this and goes to the National Hunt Chase and he'll win that.
Yeah, no, I was kind of in agreement with you there. I thought that they should go potentially to the National Hunt Chase with Latest Exhibition. I think that he'd have a better chance in there of picking up some prizes. But I think it's likely that he's probably going to go to Fairy House. Now, Jack, we had a discussion the other day saying that if you had a big prize fancy for a handicap, you could just double it up with Monkfish to double the price in it almost. I'm still in the same opinion. This horse just doesn't lose, Jack, does he?
No, I mean, speaking of 12-1, I think I'd take 12-1 if Andrew was riding him. Like, honestly, he just wins. Like, I would. If they said Andrew Halligan was on board and they gave me 12-1, I'd absolutely lump on. But
How many stones is that, Andrew? How many stones do you have to carry in them?
Jeez, wow, 3 weeks to get down to what? I need to stop eating right now. At least 3.5 stone I have to get rid of.
Oh, God. I mean, it's just obscene, isn't it? He's currently 5-6. I think he goes off, what, 2-1 on, 4-9 on the day, especially if Latest Exhibition comes out. Like, what I loved was Paul Townend after. He literally just admitted he was a steering job. He said, all I had to do was sit there and steer him. Like you said, like, he can jump how he wants. He can, like, settle how he wants. He's just unreal, isn't he? And for Latest Exhibition, as we said, it's just wrong place, wrong time. I'm sure he'll have his day in the sun, but whilst Monkfish is about, it's not coming anytime soon, is it?
No, he certainly will. Latest Exhibition, like I say, a really, really good horse. And I've actually looked up some great monkfish recipes. We've got a lovely roasted monkfish Caribbean recipe from Ainsley Harriet that I'm going to be whacking up on the day with a glass of white wine as soon as he goes and bolts up. And yeah, and gives me a nice little payout. I am on a slightly shorter prices than Andrew. I mean, I think I've got about 7-1, 6-1 about this horse. 12-1 is absolutely ludicrous. I can't believe that. That's when did you take that?
4 years ago.
When he was born.
Before he was born. In his buckets. I think it was in June. I think we done an anti-post video on lockdown for Cheltenham, and I put him up as one of my selections, and I the hell of it. I may as well back up and we talk. So I stuck tenner on him there, stuck a tenner on him 2 weeks later, and started building up ever since.
There we go.
The frightening thing about him is he looked an out-and-out stayer when he won the Abla Bartla. But now it looks like he's as fast as anything.
He's just flawless. Like absolutely flawless.
When he won the Grade 1, I think it was Flowgas Hurdle or Flowgas Chase at Leopardstown, people were saying, "Oh, it's not fast enough. He's dropping down the trip. He's going to be done for toe." He sprinted away from him.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the big argument online is all this Shishkin versus Violin versus Monkfish, who wins over this distance. But let's get rid of Shishkin for now. 2 mile 4, Violin versus Monkfish. Who would you side with? Jack, you go first.
Monkfish.
Yeah, and Andrew over 2 mile 4.
Monkfish.
There you go. See, so this horse has got plenty of speed to burn and also some stamina. So he's got all the gears, he's got all the credentials, and he will absolutely romp up in the Brown Advisory Novice Chase. Right, now the big championship race of the Wednesday. It is the Queen Mother Champion Chase over 2 miles. And your favourite here is Chacun Pour Soi. 10 to 11 is the best price about this horse. Altior 8 to 1. Politolog 9 to 1. Aplutar, who's not going to run here, is 10 to 1. Nube Negra 12 to 1. Put the Kettle on 14 to 1. First Flow 14 to 1. For some reason, Bouverdare's in the betting 20 to 1. You can get bigger the rest. First of all, Bouverdare won't run either, by the way. Now, Andrew. Sorry?
Is he not still running around Haydock somewhere?
Probably. Navajo Pass. Well, let's not tie in any form of Goshen in, because Goshen beat Navajo Pass, who beat Bouverdare, who... Let's not get into it. Let's just not, because you discussed it on Talking
I spent 40 minutes on our podcast.
I know, yeah. At the day we're filming this, Andrew had his talking points over on the finishing line, and it was a really good watch. And thankfully, he's not wearing that shirt from last night.
Oh, God.
Have you burnt it yet? Or
Taking
taking
the tea towel off.
Cross an appreciated look.
Oh, God.
What, by wearing a tea towel?
Yeah. God.
I used to like you.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, thanks for coming on, by the way. Andrew, Chacun Pour Soi. He's a lot of people said he's a very fragile horse. He's had the one sort of few blips. It's not like he's been a majorly fragile horse, but I think he's very, very, very classy. He's a very good animal. Now, a lot of people pulled this horse up in early days for jumping like a Smeg fridge freezer. I completely disagree with that. I think that he's a very talented jumper, and like most horses, when the gears are going, when they start to speed up, this horse takes lengths out of horses. You just look at the Dublin Chase and stuff, where horses were getting tired, and when he was flying over those fences, he was taking 2 or 3 lengths out of them each time. And I think that's what his asset is. Maybe his only weakness is his finishing pace. He doesn't look like he finds a lot. Tell us a bit about how you've looked into this race and whether you think Chacun is actually quite a good thing in here.
He looks a good thing. The scary thing about him is I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I don't think there's been a race run fast enough for him for us to see him at his full potential. I think the quicker to go, the further he'll win by. Yes, the finishing kick is a worry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's going to be so far clear going up the hill that he'll get away with it. It does look like when he hits the half furlong pole that he starts to empty, but he starts to paddle a bit. But I think his jumping's going to win the game. He's jumping, I don't know who said this, he jumps like a fridge.
I've seen it. I saw it over Twitter, and I think a lot of people have sort of tried to criticise this horse, and I don't see how you can. He's just very classy.
Yeah, and people saying that, Mankind doesn't jump like a fridge and they're getting a chance in the Arcus. It's Chacun's to win. Of course there's doubts. There's his fragility. He's never run at Cheltenham this shite. He's like people say, he only ran 4 times in 4 years before this season. Yeah, but he's ran every time he wanted to this year. There hasn't been 1 ounce of a problem with him. I know he's a 9-year-old. He's going to Cheltenham for the first time, but what's to say he can't win? He's by far the best at what we see in this season. We've Altior. If Altior comes back to anywhere near his best, he'd give him a solid race. But Nicky Henderson's form is frighteningly scary this close to Cheltenham. And then you have Nube Negra, who's done this before. He's come out and battered the field, and he's gone on, stepped up in grade. I know everyone say, he beat Altior though. He beaten good. I want to see him do it again, because the last season he done it, he ended up being placed twice behind horses. You'd be lapped in this. there's two solid horses. I like Shakan. Before I get off Shakan, Shakan is the horse you all have to beat. He's the form in the book. His jumping is electric. Like, I want a fridge that jumps like him. Thank you very much. Look, Altior is the main danger. He's unbeaten around Cheltenham. Let's not forget. He's a multiple Grade 1 winning chaser. If we look at last year, the race against Surname, yes, it took a lot out of him. You can see that again this year with Surname. Surname is not the same horse ever since. They absolutely battered each other, and it's at the lead mark big time. The break he's getting, I think not running last weekend is going to do him the biggest favour ever. I think he just ticks him away, gets him ready, Nicky will get him ready on the day, and hopefully his horse start running better. He's 8-1, 9-1. That's skullduggery, robbery for an each way bet.
What?
He's 11 though, Andrew. He's 11. He's 11 years old, mate.
Go back to, I know he's 11. He's unbeaten around Cheltenham. He's a multiple Grade 1 winner chaser. He doesn't need, 80% of Altior gets placed, at least. You're going to get worse 8-1 shots to try to get placed at the festival. Politolog is Politolog. Will he get found out? Will he run his race again? He's a solid horse. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. No, I can't have Newbury Negro at 8-1. He needs to show it again. The one who's not been talked about is the horse that put the kettle on. Horses coming from the Arc have an unbelievable record in the champion chase. She's 12 to 14 to 1 in the place. She's getting £7 mare allowance. She comes to life at Cheltenham.
Yeah, she does.
Forget anything that she done here. Last year she got beat by Robin DiCarlo around Tipperary. Forget about whatever she does. She'll turn up at Cheltenham and you'll see a different horse altogether. 14 to 1 with her will be probably the smart bet. If Shakan starts to paddle, she'll be there. She stays further. There's question marks about Shakan's finishing kick, as we said. Shakan win, put the kettle on, Altior to follow him home.
Wow. Okay, Jack, I know that you're a big fan of Nube Negra, and you've taught this horse being the one that's chasing home Shakan Poursoir as they run up that hill. Go on, tell us why, because Altior, you've just mentioned there he's 11, you were trying to slate Altior, and you're saying that Nube Negra has provided good form by beating him. What is it about Nube Negra that you like so much?
Look, I know he's 7 years old, but there's only one way he's going, and that's up. And quickly before I go on to this, Andrew, it's 16 of the last 19 Arkle winners have placed or better that we've put the kettle on in the champion chase. So that's quite a nice stat.
You are the stats man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do. It's what I do. But yeah, I think Nube Negra's just gone a little bit under the radar, and he's 12 to 1, which I think's an okay price. I still think he's probably a couple of points short. And I know he's 7. He's pretty young, but since switching to the larger obstacles, he's only been beaten twice of his 5 appearances. His chase debut, he beat the well-bet Ballymore. That was back in October 2018. I think he's only had 3 runs in the two years, and then another one after that, of course. But he got beaten by Esprit de Large and Rouge V, and they were both contenders for the Arkle at the time. But when he reappeared in the Desert Orchid, he reversed that form around with Rouge V by 31 lengths. Now, if that's not improvement, I don't know what it is. Now, Shishkin ran on the same card as him that day, which is obviously great for timings. And the pace was very similar in both races, with the Novice just a little bit slower. And they were both jumping stride for stride at the 9th fence. Now, at that fence, Shishkin came through to take it up, whereas Nube Negra was still stalking Duc de Genève with Altior to his left. And at the final fence, there was a 2-second gap in between them before Shishkin pushed on a little bit, and it ended up just under 3 seconds, the gap in between, considering that the Skeltons had Nube Negra eased down. But I think the ground variations are obviously a little bit different, and they obviously are in the Arkle and the champion chase when they're run. But I took the times for that, and there's an average of 1.7 seconds difference, with the Arkle being quicker than the champion chase. Now, 2 seconds at the final fence. If Shishkin's going to be an Arkle winner, and a very, very good Arkle winner, then I don't think that's too out of line with how far he should be behind an Arkle winner. And although he beat Altior when he wasn't at his best and he was coming back and whatever, and there's a long way to go, I think 12 to 1 about him if Shakan Poursoir doesn't find that bit off the bridle, or if Altior fails to fire. I just think there's a lot more question marks than there is for Nube Negra, even though he doesn't fit the criteria of a normal champion chase winner.
Yeah, and the other form we need to tie in here, because there's a horse here at 14 to 1 as well, is from the Clarence House chase, and that's First Flow. Now, I don't know about the long-term forecast for the festival, but just say we got heavy ground on the day. Do you think that, Andrew, do you think First Flow is probably value in there if we did have heavy ground come the festival?
We had heavy ground, yeah. He's like, you can't crab what he's done the way he's done it. Himself and Plidlog cut each other's throat in the Clarence House, and he just kept going and going and going. His jumping is frightening. David Bass must have the biggest pair of balls ever to be throwing that lad at fences. Look, his record speaks for itself. There's just a load of ones next to his name. You can't crab it in any way. Does he lack the class? Well, I say, does he lack the class? Obviously not, because he's a grade 1 horse. Will he be... I think heavy ground is key to him, obviously.
Yeah.
All his decent form is on heavy ground. Will we see heavy ground? Probably not the way the weather is going, because we're getting all the rain now, which usually just disappears during the second week of March. But if it was heavy ground, of course he's going to have a chance.
Yeah,
of course
he's good each way, but I think if it does turn that way.
But yeah, look, he does. He has his chance. But he won't be, for me, really. It wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world if he did go and do it on heavy ground.
Yeah, 100%. And Politolog was in that race, finishing second. Now, I don't know whether it's weird to say this, but I couldn't be confident in Politolog running his race without Skelton on board, because Skelton's going to be aboard Nube Negra, obviously, for his brother, and Cobden's probably going to get the ride here. Jack, do you think that some horses, I completely agree with it, some horses seem to thrive under certain jockeys? Do you think having Harry Skelton on Politolog makes a hell of a difference for this horse?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it with Champ and Barry Geraghty. I think it's kind of quite similar here with Politolog. I mean, he had no excuses last time out in the Clarence House. He was just beaten fair and square by First Flow. And if that's anything to go by, I wouldn't be backing him, especially now Skelton's not on board, not at all.
Yeah, 100%. And the form of that Tingle Creek with Politolog, he beat Grenadine by 7 lengths, and Grenadine's then gone to finish third. I think he was third in the Game Spirit Chase at Newbury. I'm not quite sure that Politolog's the one to be following. I think Altior, it'd be amazing to see it happen. Everyone would want to see it happen. Can you imagine the scenes at Cheltenham were this horse to come and win? But for myself, it's going to be Chacun Poursoir. Andrew seems to be selecting Chacun Poursoir with Altior, potentially a decent each way bet at 8-1, and Jack at 12-1 on Nube Negra in the Champion Chase. Right, we move on to the cross-country chase. Now, I know a lot of Cheltenham fans look forward to this race. It is a bit of difference at the festival, and it can be a great watch. Over 3 miles, 6 furlongs, and multiple different obstacles. It's nothing like that race at Hamburg. I don't know if anyone saw it on Twitter with the lake. I don't know if anyone actually saw it. It was ludicrous.
Two of them came off as well.
One jockey seemed to dive off and go for a swim. One went in with a jockey and came out without it. I don't know whether the jockey's still alive.
I was watching it, expecting to be a little splash, and then all of a sudden 3 horses just disappeared.
Just swimming.
Yeah, because you get this at the Parvadika over in Czech Republic. They do have a water thing where they run through it, but they just paddle through it. It's not the things went underwater. It was literally get scuba diving outfits on the jockeys next time they run that, but it was ludicrous. But we'll go through the betting for it. Easy's Land, the best price is 7-4 still. Tiger Roll 9-1, Potter's Corner 9-1. Ajas, the other French horse, is 10-1. And then you've got the likes of Shady Operator 14-1 and Bigger the Rest. Now, it all seems to revolve around this French horse. You know, he hasn't had his scheduled prep run, which was meant to be in Pau, I think, over in France. But I wouldn't be too worried about that. I think they've got the amazing training facilities there at the yard for these cross-country horses. And I think he's going to be an absolute good thing here. Lads, we're probably all in agreement that he's going to be difficult to beat. He had the run at Cheltenham. Obviously, he finished 4th, but he was giving a lot of weight away. I think £21 in total, somewhere along that line, which was ludicrous. And I think, you know, now off level weights, he's going to absolutely romp this field. But is there anything at a bigger price that we can give a mention for potentially each way? And potentially, what is our opinions on Tiger Roll return here? Jack, we'll start with you.
It's a race that really I lack enthusiasm for, it's fair to say.
You sound like it.
Yeah, Tiger Roll's gone. Easy Land should win. Didn't like the good ground last time, like you said, in November. But the only one that actually warrants a bit of interest for me is Ben Pauling's LeBroy. Now, they were going to go to the National with him.
This isn't going down well.
People, please give up on this horse.
No. I won't do that, Andrew. Should I tell you why?
I'm listening.
Good. So they were going to go to the National with him. that was a horrible flop. But he's an out-and-out stayer, mate. He's an out-and-out stayer. And Ben Pauling's come out and he's used the word tailor-made for the cross-country fences at Cheltenham. Tailor-made. Now, many things aren't tailor-made, but I'll tell you what, if those cross-country fences are tailor-made for LeBroy and he stays and stays and stays, then 25-1 in what will be probably a 6-7 runner race max each way, I don't actually think it's that bad a prize.
Okay, Andrew, I'll let you just slaughter Jack for his choice of LeBroy there, but I'd actually like to hear your opinions on Tiger Roll, who finished well back in the Boyne Hurdle, finishing 6 for 6 in there. I think he's personally gone at the game. It's time to retire him. Go for it.
He's not the horse he is. He's not the horse. He's never going to get back to what he is. Let's not forget, what is he, 11-year-old now? He's after running the bones of 30-odd, 40 races at this stage of his career. Look, give him a go around it. He travelled well for a long way in the Boyne Hurdle. He dropped out like he was moonwalking backwards, out like Mums Tipple did, out the back of the telly. He's gone at the game, God bless him. I'd be shocked if he was even placed. I think he's that much gone. He done this before. After I think he won the Triumph Hurdle. Then it took a year and a half to get him back to anywhere near his best. It needs to be the cross-country fences to get him back to his best, but I can't see it happen. I think the age and the amount of races he's had. Like, let's not forget, he's a 5-time Cheltenham Festival winner, I think. He's a dual Grand National winner. It's going to take its toll sooner or later. Do you want to risk running him? If he's up for it and enjoying life, yeah, the hell of it, go for it. But I reckon win, lose, draw, he's going to be retired on the spot after it. They would be mental to run him in the Grand National in the form he's in.
Yeah, I think it was a bit loose of Gordon Elliott to straight away come out and say, yeah, he's raring to go. He's raring to go. It's like you haven't even seen how he's come out of the race and you're already saying, yeah, he's raring to go for the cross country. I thought that was a little bit reckless, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, he'll potentially enjoy the good ground or the good soft ground that comes about at Cheltenham, and hopefully he gets that for himself. And I'm sure he'll run a lot better in the cross country chase if he does go there. He's not going to finish last by all means. He was obviously pulled up, wasn't he, in a handicap cross country chase at Cheltenham, which was sad to see under Robbie Power. But Keith Donoghue does get along with this horse. I personally can't see it getting close to Easy's Land. If you really wanted me to stretch for something at a big price, I'd give a small mention to a horse that he won at Cheltenham in December, and that was Sumneck, who was formerly trained by Willie Mullins. He's not confident. He wouldn't be something that I'd be going, guys, a tenner each way. It'd be something I'd go, do you know what? I'll whack 50p each way on so I can have a real enjoyment of it. But
tenner each way, trust me.
He did make some bad mistakes around the course. I think he made 4 big mistakes, but I think if they can improve his jumping, I think that he's got a bit of a chance in here at a big price. I think it might fall into one of those where you get an 11-8 winner or even money winner and you'll have 50-1, 33-1 second and third. Like, that's how it could come about. But for all of us lads here, Easy's Land, the French horse, is going to be the one to beat in the cross-country chase.
If you take, just a word on Easy Land.
Yeah.
If you have this, if people are so negative about him, if you take what the English handicapper has rated him, he's rated him a pound higher than Delta Work, a dual Grade 1 winner over fences, a pound lower than Santini. What prices would they be if they ran the cross country chase? Odds on, long odds on. This horse is a cross country specialist. Where he got English handicapper got this market was beyond a joke.
Yeah.
Look, this horse wins. There's nothing wrong with him. He was on the gallops today in David Cotton's. Jason Kelly put up a tweet on him saying he's fine, nothing wrong. All systems go to Cheltenham. Sumneck is some price.
Yeah, I do think he is. He's not confident, Andrew, but I do think he is overpriced in a race that could fall apart a bit in behind. So I've looked at it. I think you might even be able to get 33-1 about this horse, but I did look and think 25s was the best I could see. But yeah, are you with me on the fact that he might be worth a little each way play?
I think he's placed. That's at worst. I think he's placed. I put him up as my anti-post selection for this 25s, and I put him up to win the race at Cheltenham in December. It was on the back of his run at Punchestown behind Never Oshikon. He took to the fences and he looked he was enjoying the putt. He made a few mistakes. He learned then when he went to Cheltenham. He's only going to improve again. That was only his second run around the cross-country course and his first one at Cheltenham. There's a lot of horses in behind him who are rags. who are doing this to try to get their life back on track. LeBroy, he may as well start now. He's going to end up headbutting the cheesehead wedges.
But mate, even if he does, he'll stay. He'll still be going by Cheltenham.
It's an 8-mile race, not a 4-mile.
Send him to the race in Hamburg. Get him in the lake. Let him swim.
Just let him keep swimming.
Something
Just
like
keep
that,
swimming.
yeah.
Dave holds on to him like his life depends on it, and he's finally given up on him.
Mm.
If you look at the race he won was the National Hunt Chase beating Discorama. Discorama has been the same ever since. LeBroy has been the same ever since.
Yeah, you're right, but he stays, mate. He stays, and there's nothing else in there that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking.
Wednesday as well, very slowly though. I think, all joking aside, Eastland wins this by 19-20 lengths again.
We move on to the final race we're going to preview before we touch on our handicap selections and see if Andrew's got anything else during the week that he fancies. And it's the Champion Bumper over 2 miles. Now, it looks like a 2-horse race again here. The betting looks like this. Kilcrut, the best price is 2-1. Sir Gerhard is 11-4, sorry. Eileen Dover won't run here, but is 10-1 in the betting. Three Stripes Life, 12-1. Grand Paradis, 16-1, and Bigger the Rest. Lads, it's another one where there's plenty of these at the festival, and these sort of almost look like 2-horse races where 2 horses are going to be battling it out. Andrew, Kilcrut's race was very impressive at the Dublin race. He looked very good, but in a race I thought fell apart slightly. I think he was slightly flattered by it. There's no harm in saying that. I think he's a very classy horse, but Sir Gerhard is also in here, who hasn't actually been seen against that big a company, but has done nothing wrong and been impressive in every run he's had. And I know that I think it was Jamie Codd got off this horse and said, "Trust me, lads, this is one of the best horses I've ever sat on." And ever since he was discussing about Lebeck at the Sky Sports Racing preview and said 50-1 was ludicrous, I trust that man with my life now, Jamie Codd. He's the man to follow. And I think he thinks a lot with this horse. Andrew, Kilcrut, Sir Gerhard, or something else at a bigger price?
Visually, Kilcrut, race probably did fall apart. Look, we all got carried away with what we seen. I think it was the camera angle where it just looked like he just found a turbo up his arse and just went past the lads and see you later. It was impressive. But the thing that I can't get out of my head was this time last year, Tony Mullins had this horse and he said, "This is the best horse I have. This thing is going to win the bumper by whatever in it." But it ended up getting beat by Captain Kangaroo or someone like that.
Yeah, it was.
But he's had a reputation even before he's look. A load of these bumper horses always have a big reputation. He's visually impressive, and I like to take visual impressions and believe what you see because 90% of the time it is happening. 13-8, do I want to go on 13-8 in the bumper? God, no, I don't. Sir Gerhard 5-2, do I want to go at that either? No. I hate this race. I can't stand it. It's like if somebody's coming into racing for the first time watching the Grand National. This is what you do. Yeah, I'll back that. It's the way you look. But when I went down through it, there's one that actually stood out to me. I'm looking at Paddy Power price now, so I don't know what price big she is. Is Grangy, another Willie Mullins horse. She was brought over she won at, Galway, her first run, and they didn't think much for it, and she won very impressively. Then Willie Mullins sent over to Market Racing, a race which he won the year before with Panic Attack, who was now trained by David Pipe. Bombed out, beaten by that good horse at Pam Slice.
Eileen Dover, yeah.
Over, who absolutely turned up in this, but she won't. She will be serious contender. She went on then and she ran at Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival. She won well. She kept on really well. The finish kept going away. I think she's way overpriced. Look, Mare's allowance again. She's getting a lot of weight off him. She need to come on again, but these kind of races you always see every year, mad prices. Let's not forget, Q Card won this at like something 50 or 40 to 1 at 1 year.
Yeah, 40.
We do not know how much improvement is going to come out of these horses. There's one race horses in this. They could find 10, 15 pounds. It's the worst betting race of the meeting.
It is. It 100% is. I completely agree with you.
Say to go, Kilcrut looked unbelievable. Put your life savings on him. It has to be that good. I wouldn't touch this with a bar sport.
No, it's not.
If this race wasn't on the Cheltenham Festival, I wouldn't be going near it.
Jack, We've already said it before, I think, in previous videos, saying that we don't enjoy bumpers, we don't enjoy previewing. I think it was the Dublin Racing Festival. We said that we didn't really want to preview it, but we did. With regards to the two at the top of the market, I mean, we're going to be excited to see what they do next season over hurdles. What do we make of them both? Do we see one as a 2 mile novice hurdler and one as a mid distance 2 mile 4, or what could you see with these horses?
I think they might go both 2.5. To be fair, they both stay and they both stay quite well. But they definitely both won't go supreme. But I think they'll both stay a lot more than they do have gears. I mean, Kilcrew, the race did fall apart. Needs a fast gallop to stay with and come through the pack. But yeah, it's funny how you say, Andrew, about that camera angle, because I think it was that camera angle when you're looking at it, and he literally just breezes past them both. But Andrew mentioned it there. I wouldn't touch this race with a barge pole as well. I wouldn't go anywhere near it. But I've just looked at one angle. 4 of the last 12 winners only had one race and won that one race. So you had Q Card, Briar Hill, Silver Concord, and there was one other as well who's 9-2, second favourite. But they won at 40 to 1, 25 to 1, 16 to 1, and 9 to 2. So like pretty decent prices. Now there's 3 who come off the one run. There's 3 Stripe Life, who you said there's 12 to 1. One readily by 9 lengths last month in testing conditions at Navan. Stayed on well, will probably stay up the Cheltenham Hill. Highland Charge for Noel Mead is 33 to 1. Now, I'm not too sure whether he'll go. He beat Reality Check, who unfortunately passed away on his next bumper start, but he was going to win that quite easily. And then there's one other Petrosian, I think it is, for Paul Nichols, who won by 7.5 lengths on good ground last year. Not sure he'll come here, but they're the 3 that could be at a price for one run. But as I say, I won't be going anywhere near this race.
There we go. The Mighty Q Card, who I think his actual one race was run at the Mighty Fontwell as well. It's great to get a mention in for the local course for us lads. Andrew, when you come over, I tell you, we're going for a Guinness at Fontwell. You're going to absolutely love it. That hill is just as testing as the Cheltenham Hill.
Honestly, it's so good. More testing.
The horses that absolutely paddle up that hill is ridiculous.
They walk over the line, mate. They crawl.
Honestly, it's the one. Lads, if I had to take a chance with one, I had to put up a selection. I'd probably take a chance with Sir Gerhard, who hasn't been tested yet, but might be the one worth chancing with. But yeah, I think Jack's right. If you are sort of one that's going to be touching this, you're probably better off getting a pen out and whacking something on it and picking one that's just had the one run. So yeah, nothing confident really from us lads here, but the bumper, a very interesting race to watch. Right, we're going to discuss the 2 handicaps on the day, which are the Coral Cup and the Grand Annual. Now, I'll go to both of you, Jack. I know that you've just got the one for the Coral Cup. Now, Andrew, your big shout for the Coral Cup.
Willie won his plot job, lads.
Here it is. Here it is.
If Shari wins it, he got, let's say, an educational ride out the back at Leopardstown by Paul Townend. Fair enough, he made a mistake at the second, I think, and he drove back to the back. This thing came there swinging, then coming around the home turn. Paul Townend just flicky, make it look like I'm doing something. Keep my mark. This thing is going to bolt up at Cheltenham. It was off for the bones of nearly 3 years, I think, and it came back at Cork in January. Bolted up, absolutely sluiced up. He looked as big as a bull as well, so there's a lot to work on. He's off 144, which is daylight robbery for him. Mm-hmm. I think he turns up, he gets the breaks. I know it's a big handicap field. He needs to get the breaks. If he gets the breaks, I think he's so well in. He's Paul Townend's just through the gaps, up the hill, off he goes. It's that easy. I think he's by far the best horse in this race.
Wow. And Paul Townend could have a really good festival. Does anyone know what price Paul Townend is to be top jockey at the festival?
About 1 to 4.
1 to 4. Right,
I could be talking shite now, though, but
double that up with Violin for the Presbytery Cup, and you got an all right little bet there. You get 2 to 1 on.
I said this earlier. I said this to Jack. Text him saying that 2 to 5. It sounds bad, but is an absolutely brilliant price for the Presbytery Cup. They should be about 50 to 1 on Ireland to win it. I can't believe that it's 2 to 5. You could whack that in a few trebles. I don't know, but
we'll have a wrap after the second day.
To say that 2 to 5 is a good price. I never thought I'd say 2 to 5 is a good price.
We get some slating over putting up so many Irish horses. It's not our fault.
They're going to destroy it.
Something we can do with that. They're the best horses are over here. Like if there was horses, the best horses in England that were better than Irish horses, of course I'm going to put them up. It's about making money. I don't care where they're from. They could be from
exactly.
I think it's only like 6-1 for Ireland to have their record year at the festival in terms of the amount of winners. I think there's fairly short price. So, a lot of Irish horses, especially in the handicaps, are very well regarded. Jack, Coral Cup, anything at a nice price?
See, I was looking at Willie Mullins's, but he's one winner from 41 runners in this. He has a pretty horrible record in it, if I'm being honest.
So many stats, Andrew. He just literally throws them at you and just shuts you down.
You know what the great thing is? I never believe stats. Stats are made to be broken.
The Challow, mate. The Challow hurdle, brave man's game. No one wins the Ballymore from the Challow. But there's actually a couple that I think are worth a mention. The first is Monte Cristo for Nicky Henderson. Now, of course, Nicky's won this the last 2 years. And he came over from France, very well fancied for a Triumph hurdle trial, flopped on that. Didn't really have any promise the next 2 starts, but won at Christmas by 7 lengths. Now, Dame de Compagnie, or however you want to pronounce his name, won this from the break from Christmas as well. So Nicky obviously goes all right with a break from Christmas, and he's 20-1, and he's off 145, which I think, to be fair, I think that's a bit harsh because you got raised £12 for that win. So I think that's a little bit harsh. And there's one at a much bigger price.
There we go, some decent prices. And last year's winner, Dame de Compagnie, I know a lot of people might fancy that horse again. It's £8 higher this year. So yeah, just do bear that in mind. I think the horse is around 12-1 for the race, but last year's winner, Dame de Compagnie, is £8 higher. Now, the Grand Annual, I know, Jack, you don't have one, but you might have a stat for me with regards to the ones who fancy embittered for this race. I'll come to you in a second. But Andrew, the Grand Annual, I haven't really got a massively confident selection, but I'd give a mention to Aramax in here, who, again, another horse who's going to like the good to soft ground, off 140. I think he won 2 starts ago. He looked like a fairly decent performance, and this horse has always been considered to me as a bit of a plot job for Cheltenham. And I think he's a very talented animal. So again, another one, if getting the ground that we tend to get around Cheltenham time, I think he could run a big race in the Grand Annual. Chosen Mate, last year's winner, he's running off 147. I don't know. I'd give him a little squeak. He hasn't looked too great this season, but I think that, I think around sort of 7-8-1. I think it's way too short for this horse. Andrew, Grand Annual, go on.
And another one who you touched on Sam, was Chosen Mate, last year's winner. I know he's done absolutely nothing this year, but I think the plan always been come back to Cheltenham, get him there fresh. Won it last year, loves the track. What's pricey? 10s, 12s in the place or something?
Yeah, he was 7-2 last year. He went off. He was well backed on the day, I remember.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big run out of him. 2 of them now will be my horses to take out.
Okay, there we go. Some interesting ones. Black Bow and Chosen Mate for Andrew in the Grand Annual. Now, Jack, I know I said that you haven't got a selection for this, but I've seen a lot of people fancying a horse called Embittered for the Grand Annual. Tell them why that Embittered may not have a great chance in this race.
He doesn't really fit the profile, lads. If I'm being honest, I couldn't really pick anything that bang on with this. But he's only won twice, and he doesn't actually fit the profile. If I'm being honest, I mean, I was looking at his age stats, and there's actually nothing off of his age stats. He's 7 years old, and I thought there was at first, but there isn't. And if you're looking at the trends, I think A Wave of the Sea is the only one who matches all of the kind of criteria. I wouldn't really be backing him myself, but yeah.
Okay, there we go. Well, hopefully we've got a few nice prices in the handicaps there. Now, Andrew, before we go and we leave this preview, obviously you're only joining us for day 2 of the festival. We've got plenty of decent guests for later this week. We do want to hear your other fancies for other days, whether that's the opening day or the final 2 days. Give us a couple of horses that you think will be winning this festival.
I want to hear the Andrew Halligan nap and next best. That's what I want to hear.
Oh yeah, that's the one we all want to see.
The nap is honeysuckle.
Oh.
After you've gone on about Goshen, I can't believe what I'm hearing. There's no way.
Yeah, no, Goshen is such a good thing. Goshen is the best bet of the festival. I'm telling you now. Shut up. Honestly, the thing wins by lengths.
Of what performance Goshen is going to have to put up to give her £7?
22 lengths on the snap, mate.
Unbelievable to give her £7. The way this race is going to be run, it's going to suit her down to the ground. They are going to go off like scarlet cats up front. You have Not So Sleepy, who is liable to do a somersault over a hurdle. You have Goshen, who's claustrophobic apparently and just loves going as quick as he can. You're going to have Honeysuckle about 2-3 lengths behind him, tracking them, take it up, jumping the last, and outstayed a lot of them up the hill. That's how it's going to pan out. That's the way the race is going to work out.
That is, unless the other variation of that is Goshen does not let her past.
No, Goshen, just quickly, let me just say, because I think actually you talked about this on Talking Points, Andrew, that Song for Someone and Navajo Pass in the Kingwell Hurdle, they may have run their races. They may have run to their form. This horse here, he reminds me a lot of Gaiath on the flat. He grinds horses into submission. They all slowly come off the bridle behind him. We don't know whether he can do that to top-class horses like Epatante, like Honeysuckle. But I wouldn't be shocked to see it. I really wouldn't if they're turning in. You've got horses just one by one going, bang, I'm off the bridle, I'm off the bridle. And Jamie Moore's going, see you, I'm off to the final hurdle where I'm actually going to jump it this time. I really, really fancy it.
The way I think that's the top two. Honeysuckle, Goshen, that's my top two.
Yeah, same.
I think it's just the staying power that Honeysuckle has and the weight. It's going to be unbelievable hard for him to give her £7. She's one of the best mares we've probably seen since Annie Power and Covega. She's unbeaten. She looked amazing winning the Irish Champion Hurdle. Where I crabbed it, I said I'd never run her over 2 miles. But what she done to them at Leopardstown was amazing. What Goshen done on Saturday was breathtaking. The two of them are going hammer and tongs. We're going to the last. Lads, sit back and enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be so good.
Plus, I backed Goshen before he won on Saturday and have Honeysuckle at 11, so I'm happy.
Oh, there we go.
Unless Epatante spoils the party.
No, do you know what the thing with Epatante? She went on some mad drift today in the market.
Yeah, I saw that.
You went on walkabouts in the market today.
So did Honeysuckle as well. You can get threes about Honeysuckle.
Oh, okay. That'll be interesting.
And Goshen's gone 7-2 in the place.
Oh, there we go. And the next best, Andrew, for yourself?
Like, I'll be honest, I was going to say Monkfish is my nap, and I'm not putting Monkfish at 5-6.
So, it's too easy. It's too easy.
So Honeysuckle is my nap. My next best is Bob Ollinger.
Oh, okay. Rachel Blackmore double is his thing that he's going to put up on our preview. The Rachel Blackmore double.
Shock.
God, blimey.
It's going to be. It's a hard race to put up a next best, and I think he's that good. I really do think he's that good. As I said with Brave Man's Game, Paul Nichols had to put the mockers on him saying he's the next Demon. Galliard Demenil, I'm convinced he's a stayer. Convinced. But that's the top two, top three. I just think he's something special.
Okay, there we go. Well, we will stick all of our selections. They'll be on screen throughout this preview, and I'm sure you'll see them bang at the end. So you can note down any that you might fancy and any that you're going to have a little punt on at the festival. But Jack, thanks as always.
Yeah, cheers, Sam. And thanks, Andrew.
Andrew, I wish you the best of weeks for the festival. I hope that we have a massive cheer home when Monkfish wins and, Bob Ollinger wins. But yeah, I wish you the best of weeks, and hopefully we'll get to see you at the festival in person next year.
Let's hope so, lads. You got good news today. You might be back racing in the summertime.
Glorious Goodwood will be on.
Wow, Gloria. I don't have to stand outside now. I can actually go inside.
Jack will be in there. We're going to have a cold Amstel in hand. And, it's just going to be the best. It's going to be, I can't wait.
Stradivarius. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can wrap it up now, lads. Man.
That's it. Should we just do a Goodwood preview now? Should we just go for it? Stradivarius, he wins the Goodwood Cup. King George is won by Batash. Yeah, let's just end it. Let's just leave it there. But Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Anywhere where I can get a fake English passport. Sorry.
We'll ask our followers. If anyone knows, whack it in the comments and let us know. But yeah, thanks guys. And yeah, that's our preview of day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival.